Okay.
Yeah, I'm set.
Appreciate everybody being here on a Friday. I know Fridays are crazy days for y'all with the high school football games going on, so makes it a little bit different. And this is an unusual press conference for me because we're having a press conference a week after we played a team, and they've already played another game. So very unusual for us. So we'll rehash on that game very, very quickly, and then move on to this next game that's ahead of us. So the reason we didn't win the last game was the start. You know, the start of the game was poor. We gave up really a big play that was just a bust from us defensively, where we gave up a seam route down the middle of the field. And I think after that we played really good defensively throughout the whole game. And then we had poor coverage on a punt that was really costly for us and gave them a quick score, and we're down 14-0. From that point on, all things considered, I think we played a good football game. We probably played better than they did for the remaining time of the game, but it was just too big of a lead to catch up on. And obviously, we didn't, make the plays we need to make to catch up and win the ball game. So, that puts us to where we are right now in the season, just like every season. We felt like we played, as I said, I thought our first 5 opponents that we played were really good football teams. And we, had chances to win those games, but didn't win them. And so now we're back into conference with Game 3 in conference play this week going into FIU. We're into the new schedule, guys, which is these Wednesday games, which leads to some unusual times for lots of events that we're doing. We've had some extra time to prepare for this game. We've taken advantage of the extra time. Our first manner of taking advantage of the extra time was getting more rest, right? I mean, that was really important. We were one of the 2 teams to get to 6 games, us and La Tech, as quickly as anybody in the country. And I felt like it was a grind on us, right? And when you don't win those games, some of those games, it's even more of a grind mentally. As everybody knows, wins make everything better, and losses, make it tough for your team. So the couple days that we had, extra days that we had off and or to prepare, is really good for us right now. So it puts us back into where we've gained a couple extra days and we got a couple days of rest. So it was a good mix of the 2 things. And now we're into today's practice, which was a Monday practice for us. In our preparation, we've had a few of these workouts to get some extra time to prepare for FIU. We've also done like anybody would do during this open week, per se open week, 12 days between games, and spent time preparing for some of our further opponents too, because we're going to be on some shorter weeks as we get ready for other games. And so it's been a valuable time for us to do that. We feel like we're ahead of the game in that aspect with where we are in our preparation for the other games, plus the FIU game. Again, it's a challenge for us, a long trip across the country to play in Florida, but one that we're much looking forward to playing. And FIU, just get a scouting report on FIU. I like their running backs. I think they got 2 very talented running backs that have good versatility to them. I think their freshman quarterback is really a playmaker, and I know they like him quite a bit, and he's been a good leader for them. He started since game 2, took over the helm in game 2, and they've had success with him since that game, right? They've won 3 out of 5 games with him as the starter. And so he's been a good leader for him as a young performer. The receiver position has a lot of speed to it. They got one very talented receiver that they like to go to, but they got some other receivers that they like quite a bit there. And so just like any time you play a Florida team, you got to worry about their team speed on offense, and they got playmakers across the offense with that team speed. Defensively, again, the same thing rings true. They got a very good secondary. They got a lot of depth in their secondary. They played quite a few guys there. They got 2 very athletic linebackers that have very good production this year from the linebacker position and up front. They play, they're 2 deep across the front. They play their 2 deep, and they mix it up pretty good with those guys and have some good depth there and some good length and some good athleticism defensively. With what they do, they've been good in their punt return game. They have a good punt returner that's had some success in the return game, and obviously that's something that we have to shore up after last week's performance. And so it'll be important for us to be good at stopping them in special teams. So again, I think special teams are going to be a big emphasis for us this week in all of our games. I think as you look at conference play, as we go through conference play, you're seeing that there's so much parity, right? Every game that was played what's nice for me is I can work all day and then go home and do my homework watching Conference USA play midweek games. So I've got to watch 4 games over the last 2 nights, which has been really good and educational, and that's where I allude to the parity that's in our conference right now with all the teams and all the tightly contested games that were played last night and the night before. And so that just tells you one thing: whatever team prepares the best in each and every game that we have in our conference will win that football game. And so that's our challenge right now. It's a very easy challenge as far as how we look at it. It's 1-0, right? We take each and every game 1-0 each and every week, and every win gets us back to what our goals were at the beginning of the season. So this is obviously an important game for us to get a road win, and for us to get to the goals that we had at the beginning of the season. Now road wins are going to be very, very crucial for us. So we're going to have to work very hard to get one this weekend, but it'll get us on our way to what we need to accomplish. So I'll open up to questions from there.
Coach, what do you anticipate your quarterback health being like?
Sure.
And if everybody's healthy, what would it look like behind Gavin?
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a question. I listened to Mike's press conference today, and he's got the same issue with their quarterback getting hurt late, and he alluded to some of the our quarterback situations. Like I had said, it's still day to day on the progress, but if Gavin's able to play, right, then that's a good question. At the depth after Gavin right now, I really liked, I'll just speak on each quarterback. I really liked what Jake did when he got in there and played. I thought he did some good things. It was unfortunate that he went down because he had scored in one of his 2 possessions, a touchdown, and one of his 2 opportunities to run the team, and was moving the ball in the 3rd opportunity. And so I really liked what he did, and we got to see the kind of savvy. He ran the ball well and threw the ball well when he had the opportunity to do that. So I like his leadership with what he does. Kevin was a little bit, Kevin played a little bit, was good in the run game, didn't play as well, I thought, in the passing game as he would like to play. We know what Kevin brings to the table: a lot of athleticism, a lot of competitiveness. So I like what Kevin did. He can be better, and he knows that. And then I really liked what Cade did in the game. I thought Cade played outstanding when he got in there. He got in a really tough situation and led the team 90 yards down the field and looked really poised, and he's had some really good practices. And so the best way to answer that question is it's still we don't know who's going to play, right? And so not knowing who's going to play kind of adjusts our depth chart right now, but that's kind of the synopsis on what I think each guy brings to the table. And so I would feel comfortable with whatever ones are able to playing and see how they perform in this game. So really there's not a depth chart after that right now because we don't know what our health is going to be at this point.
What do you know about McNamara and Hurley?
Again, it's day to day right now. They're both in protocol, and they're both coming back out of protocol, and they're day to day to this point. So they both could very easily play. One of them's one day further along in the protocol than the other, and then Gavin, of course, we won't know until Tuesday, right, whether he's going to play or not. Right, that's when we find out on Gavin when he's going to play. But he's feeling much better. So that's a pretty detailed report on that. Yeah.
For McConnell, it's an interesting week for him, right? He's taking a lot of first-team reps in practice, but if one of those 3 guys gets better, he could drop back to the backup role. So, how do you prepare him for the opportunity to potentially start or potentially
Right.
be
It's a good question, and I don't know, really, Colin. I don't know if one of those guys is ready to play, whether they will play ahead of Cade, because if Cade gets more reps than those other guys, and I feel like he's had a really good week of preparation, which to this point he has, but we're on a Monday. I got a lot of confidence in Cade, and that confidence grew and grew from the way I watched him play because he's so intelligent, and he comes from good DNA. His dad was a successful college quarterback, and he takes the game really serious, and he understands the offense at such a high level. So I guess my best way to put it is it's still a question mark. If all 4 were healthy, Gavin would be the starter, just like Brett alluded to. But after that, I'm not sure where our depth chart sits at this point.
I guess sorry to keep hammering the point, but if you have to go with Cade, what do you like about what he brings to the table?
Yeah, again, what I really like is his leadership. I like his intelligence. I think he throws a really accurate ball. He knows the offense as well as you'd like to know a guy, and he has a lot of poise in there. And he's a great story because you talk about a guy that hasn't got a whole lot of reps and how prepared he is to be able to handle a situation. That's the part I liked about him the best because he got in the roughest situation there was. I think Tyson and I were talking, his first play was 4th and 14, right? Was that his first play in the game? and then he gets the ball at the -6, and they know what's coming, right? He's got to throw it every down, but yet he does it against all kind of bad situations and does it at a high level. So it's really a good situation because I'm so excited about what all those quarterbacks can do for us right now. I think everybody was excited to see what Jake and Kevin did. They did a lot of positive things, and then, of course, having Gavin back would be the most important thing for us right now.
When you watched FIU at New Mexico State, just kind of what do you take from that game and have a chance to see
Yeah,
it recently?
Yeah, exactly. Again, that's what's been really good is that, you can watch all the film, but then when you watch a TV copy and get to watch a live game, you take a lot more from it, and then you take what you had in your game plan and you add to your game plan from that ball game. And I thought it was a really competitive football game, which I expected it to be. Again, it's a Conference USA game. The team that made the plays when they needed to make them, the crucial plays, and the team that made the crucial mistake when they shouldn't was the one that lost, and the ones that made the play when they should were the ones that won. And that's what happened in that game, as y'all got to see. And so New Mexico State made the crucial plays down the stretch, and FIU made a mistake or two down the stretch that cost them the ball game. But I thought it was a very, very competitive football game, and one that was two teams that competed extremely hard.
Have you made some decisions since the last game on who might redshirt this year? Guys that have been playing who are down.
Yeah, what's happened, Brett, is we've had guys that hit game 4, right, a couple weeks ago, and those guys, some of them have decided to redshirt, which in the big picture scheme of things, it's the best thing for them to redshirt, and so they've decided that for them to be the best players that they can be, that they need to redshirt, and so that happens. That's one of the things. We had a class where we brought in, all those 24 transfers, and virtually every one of them had redshirt years, and some of them were not playing very much. They were playing 10, 12, 14, 16 plays a game, and they didn't want to use their redshirt to play 16 plays a game. And so we've had a group of those guys that have decided to redshirt. And really, as a leader of a program, I think in many cases, I think it was the best for the program and the best for them to redshirt.
Who were those players?
I can give you that later.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you that later because there's a group of them. So I'll just give it to you.
Is Shezmore one of them?
Trez Moore's one of them. Yep. And he was one. He played 16 games in the Arizona game, and Trez is too good of a player to play 16 snaps a game, right? It's better for him to take advantage of that red shirt. So,
Is injury-wise, Torrance and Tyron, what do you kind of expect?
Torrance is good. Yeah, Torrance is going to play right now, and again, Tyron's status is every week. We don't know for sure whether he's going to play yet or not. That's how I'm leaving it. He's coming back off that hamstring, and we're just using that. He's got to, when he's healthy, he can go. Hamstrings are funny things, especially for a receiver, and so that's where he is. So right now we haven't made, we won't know each and every week until where he's going to sit with that. But Torrance is good. We're just resting Torrance right now. So
Does Tyron have a red shirt?
Tyron has a red shirt.
He does.
He does have it.
Do you
Yeah, he
start
does.
thinking about that?
Yeah, I know. That's part of the process right now too, Brett, because he's got a red shirt and, he's played 4 games, right? And so if he's not back for two more games, is it really the best interest for Tyron to play 4 games or play 12 games? And so all those things come into the thought process.
Just where you're at right now in the season, you're playing another team that's also looking for their first conference win as well. Just how important is this game and just getting this win and not coming back 0-3?
Yeah, no, it's just it's so important to get wins right now, right? And so, it's just our season in a nutshell. Just listen to Coach McIntyre talk. He's like, you turn the film on and we're not a 1-5 football team, and there's a lot of games that we shoulda, coulda won, and that's how it's kind of looked at people that play us too. They see that, they see the kind of talent that we have. and the kind of football team that, and the games that we've played and how they've, how many opportunities have been there, like you watch our last game against La Tech and the ball's flopping on the ground 3 or 4 times with our defense and we can't seem to get one to bounce our way. We need those bounces to go our way, but we need to get wins, right? And the wins will help us to get momentum, so it's very important to get road wins. For us to get to where we need to be and for us to have a successful season, we have to have road wins, and so now that starts immediately this week.
You mentioned the Wednesday weekday games. Has it been okay? I mean, has it been difficult to adjust to like this new schedule?
I'm a fan of them. Because I think, again, I'm home at night having a chance to watch, which I love that, but it's a bigger picture than that. Everybody across the country is getting to see Conference USA football, which I think that was the whole gist of what we're doing, and we're pretty much dominating the October scene with football games in October and midweek. So that's been really neat, and I think that's good. And so, but there is some negatives that come with it. But for us, at least on the first week, we had some extra time to prepare for the first game, and now we can get a feel of what it's going to be like to play on Wednesdays a little bit more as we go into the next game in our second game in our 3 games that we have in October. So there's a lot of positives to it, but it's just a really weird schedule, like you guys having to come here on your busiest day of the week, right? It's just weird for everybody. Yeah.
Go ahead, Brett.
I was gonna say, what's up? How do you keep morale up at times like these?
Yeah, you do it by being the same leader that you are when you're 5-1. 2 years ago, right here, we were 5-1, and I don't think we've seen any change in how my demeanor and. You keep the morale up because these kids only get 4 or 5 years to play college football. They get 4 years to play. And so each and every game is really, really important for these guys because they work 365 for these games. And so to keep the morale up, it's always there when you're not winning, right? That's always important. And it's also important to keep the confidence up of the guys. So you just keep showing them the things that they're doing well, right? That we got to continue to do at a higher pace. And then you show them the things that they're not doing well that are keeping us from winning. And I think that's where the real mental toughness of the character of each individual in your organization has to show itself, because you really have to have a 1-0 mentality, which is make the most out of today and don't look back at yesterday, because you're not going to get yesterday back. All you're going to do is learn from yesterday and get the things improved. And so that's how you keep the morale up. And it's easier said than done. But, our guys, we got a lot of players here that have been through the tough times that it took to turn the program, and those are the guys that we got to lean on right now to get us back on a winning streak.
And just with again, just injuries kind of all over the place, but how do you kind of go about putting together a game plan when you don't totally know who's going to
Right.
be calling plays for you?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
under center, I mean.
Yeah, that part of it, for some reason, I'm very calm about that in my mind, because I have so much confidence in Cade if he has to start. You know what I mean? I just have a ton of confidence in that young man, and so that part of it, and we don't have to change the game plan necessarily if he starts, right? Because he can do all the things well. He's very similar type of player to Gavin, right? So the game plan stays very similar if Gavin starts. And so that part of it I feel really good about. And then Jake and Kevin, of course, add different dimensions to what they can do with our offense too. But right now, you just stay locked into what you feel like each quarterback can do well. And right now, I think you can feel comfortable that Cade can do all the same things that Gavin can do. So if those are the two guys, then the game plan is going to stay very similar.
You have a kind of a time frame when you want to set who your backup to Gavin would be?
Oh gosh, no, because I think we're going to let them play now. Brett, let them play, and let's see what happens in the future. With who's going to play this weekend, right? Or this week? It's not weekend. This midweek, and how they play when the bullets are flying. That's going to be the big thing for me. And I think audition number 1 was Jake and Kevin, and I really wanted to be pretty detailed with everybody about what I thought their performance was. I think that we got, what we thought we would get from both of them. Kevin made a lot of plays and just got to continue to improve on his passing, and Jake was very competitive and moved the football team well. And then Cade did a great job, and if he has to start this weekend, then we'll see how he does.
He's gonna hate me for asking you this. Ty's just calling his 500th game on Wednesday.
Wow,
But-
that's awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, he's one of the guys in college football.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Oh, I think that, it's awesome. I mean, we love working together. It's been a great relationship, and I just enjoy spending a lot of time with him, and so congratulations to Tice for 500, man. That's a lot of football, so it's fun. Good stuff.
Anything else?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Coach.